Hey everybody, Doug here from 2 Plus Stuff, and today I'm going to be doing a bit of a reveal of the most recent product reveals, I guess, from the Nova Warhammer community unveiling of certain things. And I wanted to do that because, quite frankly, I was busy the night that it went down on Wednesday, and then yesterday I was just on the road all day helping my mom with stuff. So this is like a blind reveal to me. It's just that now I don't have to wait the hour for it to trickle out over the internet. So I'm just going to be hanging out and talking about it, my thoughts on it for myself. If you are here with your painting setup, grab your brushes and your models. We're just going to hang out and talk about stuff. This is not a channel where I crap on things that are coming out because it's always somebody's win, right? Even if you didn't get what you wanted, it's somebody got what they wanted. So we're going to go ahead and head over to the shared screen here. I got myself in the corner, and I would love just some feedback on the items and stuff. They have it playing live here. I'm not going to turn the audio on, but I got some lo-fi playing if you guys are enjoying that. Let's see. What's up? Robin Mankiller and Mason. Hey, y'all doing? How are we? Oh, special shout out. Viewer Corey Chase, who is often in the chat, was recently on Mini Wargaming. Go check that out. So, okay, let's start it off. Kicks us off into Space Marines. This huge... They may have lost the battle for Ogrim. That's their giant campaign that they were doing. Is this live now? I'm reviewing it now, yes, because I was out on the Nova reveal. So, yes, DW, I am live right now. From multi-parts for Terminator, Sternguard vets. Okay, so we have our Chaplain here. Chaplain in Terminator armor is just awesome. That's what he is, right? Yes. By a librarian and captain, but we want more. So yeah, he's a chaplain. I adore chaplains. And we have the Assault Marines, which there's not a ton of information here. Oh, okay, here we go. I will say, Assault Marines are to me like one of the coolest aspects of 40k. Specifically, like I'm one of those folks who got into the game was exposed to Warhammer playing Dawn of War back when I was a kid. And the way that jump packs worked in that was just awesome. You could have them arc up and they'd come down and just blast enemies. So the second you had tight resistance, they just strike right in. It's terrific. The stars have aligned. Well, it's good to have you, buddy. Honestly, these don't do much for me. I'm kind of Primaris out, but I'm glad that Primaris stuff is at least getting to fill more of the niches that old Marines did. I think Assault Marines were a unique thing, right? Like, there's not... even a Blood Angels list doesn't have Assault Marines like they used to. So I'm really happy for them. I really am. If you're into this, glorious melee combat is what Warhammer is about to me. They have their Stern Guards, and this is interesting. The Stern Guards are just a multi-part version of the kit that we got in the starter set. But this is new. These are Scouts. And if you have not seen the old Scouts, these are... In the grim darkness of the far future, there are only dumpy looking mother... That's pretty much how I feel about the old kit. Their heads were terrible. But these guys look great. I'm kind of curious, pardon me, on how they'll stand up compared to the original Marines next to a Guardsman, next to a Primaris Marine, because those are some very different scales. All of those things, the way that Games Workshop does humans, the way that they do Primaris stuff, like when I say humans, I mean like Guardsman humans, human, and then there's like meta-human or whatever. These guys look great. I will be honest though, they need a shotgun profile. I play Genestealer Cults in 40k. I just picked up the army. I haven't really painted much of it yet. But they used to have shotguns as a weapon option, and now they've just rolled all the different hand weapons into, like, cultist gun. And it's like, no, I want a shotgun. I want to make my guys go within 8 inches of you just so they have a chance of maybe hurting you. I want to give you stuff to kill so the game moves in a direction. So I'll go past those. That's it for the Space Marine stuff. Honestly, I dig it. Go ahead if you're in the chat and you have any opinions or thoughts about, or big feelings about Space Marine stuff here. But this to me looks more like they're just finishing out a bit more of the roster of what Space Marines they want them to be. And while I'm not opposed to that in any way, shape, or form, I kind of wish we had this stuff like earlier. Like, what would have happened if Assault Marines came out relatively close to the Outriders, right? Like, wouldn't that have been sweet if now White Scars players feel like they have their thematic thing in bikes, and Blood Angels players can have their thematic thing in jetpacks? So I'm really happy it's here, but you know, it's not like I feel like they introduced something wholly new, right? It's all things that you would want if you were a Space Marine player and you already are familiar with and probably wanted new kits for anyway. So I'm cool with that. I'm going to move on. I don't think we have any diehard Space Marine people in the chat. Nova previews Trugg, the Troggoth King. Have you ever fallen into such a deep and consuming sleep that an entire kingdom collapsed around you and an altar of arcane power was embedded into your back purely by accident? Absolutely. Happens to everybody. I'm not going to play the video, but here we have, it is a new Trogg monster, clearly a named character, although, let's see. Stirred into a state of semi-consciousness by Alariel's Rite of Life, Trugg was finally aroused by the rambunctious caterwauling and clanging of Rabble Rouser Braggett Big Talka. The arcane energy engine on his back sprung into action after he tried to dislodge it by smashing a cave roof, and since then he's been affected by the mother of all migraines. Oh, poor dude. This guy looks awesome. Okay, so let's just take it in. For those of you who don't know, this is a character that was kind of lightly teased in the first... Oh, is it Harbingers? Harbingers is the name of the book. What's the name of the series? I can't remember off the top of my head. But essentially, there was a Grot in that story who gained renown because he was telling people, like, oh yeah, I woke up like the single biggest Trogg that's ever existed. This dude strides across mountains. He was just making this big deal. And no one really believed him, but the evidence was there because he was running away from something. And so they're like, you know, he might be full of it, and I'm pretty sure he is, but something's made him scared. And I like that. That was kind of a fun... Dawnbringers is the series name? Okay. But they had hinted that there was a Trogg beast or some kind of new wave of Troggoth stuff that was going to have a whole swath of destruction. So I'm very curious with the next one, presumably when this comes out, to see where they go with that, you know? And I'm looking at this guy. One of the things I love is his ears. They don't look right. None of them looks right because he's got this weird crap growing into him, but yeah. We swore the arcane ring was Skaven, but the GW, yeah. I'll be honest, I thought it was Warcry terrain. Just cuz. I absolutely adore his horns coming out. I'm a big fan for horns. Like anything that looks like a Wendigo kind of monster, I'm here for. It just makes everything look creepy. Not horns, antlers is more accurate. The branding on his skin, everything, it just looks absolutely terrific. I'm going to keep reading here. The altar's magical powers are actually subtly influencing him, and he is being drawn inexorably along the magical ley lines that underpin the mortal realms. Side note, that's often where cities of Sigmar are being built in this new era of the beast. Trugg is only concerned with stopping this awful headache and smashing anything magical that he finds along his way. Following this ornery behemoth are a huge horde of Troggoths, Fellwater, Rockgut, Dankhold. He is only dimly aware of the hollering hordes that trail behind him, but Braggett has elevated this living wrecking ball to the status of a king with his tails. So I like it. They're not trying to say like he is literally, you know, they're not going to make you buy the equivalent of a resin Thunderhawk from Forge World, right? Like Braggett made him sound that big, but he's not. He's probably the size of a Mega Gargant, hopefully. Hopefully, I hope so. But yeah. You can find all about Trugg and his rampage through the Mortal Realms in the next installment of the ongoing Age of Sigmar campaign series, Dawnbringers 2, Reign of the Brute Electric Boogaloo, which continues the story of the Twin-Tailed Crusade as they wind their way through Aksha and Ghiran. I'm very excited. That's a heck of a cover art right there. That's how you get Gloomspite gets players to have an erection that lasts more than 8 hours and they have to go to the doctor. Both are beset by a brutish challenge in the form of Trugg and his entourage, a great stomp led by King Broad and a Waaagh spearheaded by pugnacious greenskins seen riding wild hogs of prodigious girth. Okay, so my wife and I are big fans of the show Last Podcast on the Left, and every once in a while we just repeat those jokes back to us, and there's one where the guy, basically what I was going on in my head was, I'll tell you where I can find a hog of prodigious girth. In my pants. Okay, there we go. That's all. That's just insight to our stupid humor. This book will also contain the rules you need to support these 3 particular factions with match play armies of renown. That's important. As well as an army of renown for the Kharadron overlords themed around the Grunstock Expeditionary Force, a hard-hitting force of mercenaries who often work with other Order forces. That's terrific. About twice as tall as a normal Trog. Yeah, that's cool. It wasn't just the Braggett story that teased. Well, of course, yes, but I'm picking it out because he was the one. His character arc is focused around this thing. Shock, Doug works blue. That's funny. So, all in all, I am very happy with this guy. I think the model looks terrific. I really love this little attention to detail. There's this little tiny guy right here. I like him. I'm curious if he's going to be a multi-kit. Like, they're only talking about him in the context of being a named character, but a lot of their named character, especially with these big guys, they have multiple options to them. But then again, because he's a Trog, that might be their character. I don't know. We'll find out. But I think this guy's a win for sure. Next, we have some Ironjaws. Let's click open their thing. Please go ahead and leave your thoughts on the Troggoth there. I'm more than happy to still shout him out. I have all the Order regiments of renown. Oh, have they all been Duardin? I don't think so, but I can't think of another one. A regiment of renown. I love the new Ironjaws. Okay, we're going to jump into it here. In the just revealed Dawnbringers 2, Reign of the Brute, the focus falls on the rampaging forces of destruction, and the Ironjaws are muscling right in on the action with a horde of new bruisers. What could be more fun than Crump and all those fancy new Humies popping up everywhere? Okay, so we have Zagog Anvil Smasher, a legendary Ironjaws smith, and by the looks of him, an Iron Jaw Smith too. I like that. Zagrak Anvil Smasher taps into Maelstrom raw anarchic energy that courses through the wall to imbue nearby Auric weapons with sheer fighting power. Armed with this energy, a brute can easily rattle the brains of a mighty Draconith or a towering Mega Gargant with a single thunderous blow. That's intense. A little bit intense. I dig it. And so what? That's a named character. He's accompanied by Clonk, a cantankerous rockbrow squid, and ambulatory Anvil, whose permanent headache can only be temporarily relieved by percussive blows to his skull. Zagrak is happy to oblige as he hammers power into his own ward-smashing Choppa, which he uses to shatter enemies' most powerful arcane protections. I'm assuming that's going to be the Bone Splitters. You can ignore ward saves or whatever. He can also be equipped with a pair of Gruntatongs, okay, which he uses to further imbue the power of the Wa into the weapons of nearby orcs. Okay, so let's pause here and talk about this guy. So we have a new support hero for the Ironjaws, and I'm excited about him. Love the design, no notes. This guy he's a piece of art. I love him. My question, though, is when it comes to list building, the reason I like the Ironjaws, really Auric Warclans in general, is this great mix of support heroes and units that go out and do a thing, okay? But I always felt like Ironjaws specifically did a great job of price pointing their support heroes. Like, when a spell is good, the wizard is worth it. When it's not, he's not. Mega bosses are the same way. Like, having the right hero in the right place to project all of their abilities and stuff is really what that faction's about. What this does is just throws one more tool into that toolbox, and which is great. And I like the fact that I can look at this, read the description, and say, I think that Ironjawz players are going to have to make decisions, like hard decisions when it comes to how to build their list with the right support characters and stuff. Right, there's no right or wrong, but it's just fun stuff. This guy is legit. I do like him. I wish there was a non-named version, but you know, it's whatever. I'm just that kind of guy. Let's see. Next we have the Brute Rages. Okay, Orc Brutes are a boastful bunch, with some even these braggadocious thugs fall foul of their own outlandish claims. When a brute suffers a particularly embarrassing defeat, they may wildly overcompensate by doubling down and becoming even more outrageously arrogant, discarding most of their armor and grabbing the biggest two-handed weapon they can find, so no one could accuse them of not being the artist orc around. So we basically have, I was going to say melee brutes, but brutes are by definition pretty much all melee. But these guys are more of your fanatics, it sounds like. I mean, I don't know, they sound rad. Like, okay, as opposed to the previous model where they gave us like what they do in the context of the army, like what they do, right? He buffs other orcs. These guys give us a description of their lore, but without any context. Is like, right, but all that brutes do is run forward and smash things. So, I don't know. I'm excited to see why they're different, you know? All it looks like, what are they going to do? Give them lower bravery? That can't happen. Maybe higher bravery. That'd be kind of fun if they were made to just run full bore and just take everything on the chin. I don't know. Casman Miniature Animations, I'm sorry. Hey, Doug, how's it going? What was your favorite reveal and why is it the Troll King? I'm still going through them. This is my blind going through them one by one. I haven't seen the totality. And so I'm just taking my time. I'm very excited for these models. Exceptionally, you know, no notes. I'm just curious as to like, how are they going to be different? So that's cool. And then there is their alternate build, which is the Weird Brute Rekkas. Oh my gosh, these guys are so freaking cool. I should have looked ahead. Can I just say for a moment, these are the best orc. Like, these three schmucks, I think these are the coolest orcs that have existed. I haven't gotten to the bottom of the page yet. I was told that they redid another kit that I'm going to love. But, like, shoot diggity. These guys have so much character to them. And what's cool is I can look at them, and just from appearances, I can be like, those are different than brutes. Weird Brute Rekkas. First of all, they carry unique weapons. Things that are going, like, I can look at these guys and be like, those are not going to be range 1 inches. That's not the point, right? Like, that's not what they're supposed to do. That's their thing, and I like that. I wish I could see what the other unique thing was for the other unit. Sometimes an orc brute will get so entangled in the anarchic energies of the Wa that they go proper wonky and start vomiting green bile. Weird knob shamans hammer gruesome bone and iron masks into these afflicted orcs in an attempt to get the wonk out. Okay. This painful medical solution turns them into maniacal killers known as the Weird Brute Rekkas. Through searing pain, they would see the world around them as scorching mass of green flame and their foes as particularly bright infernos to be extinguished by one bone-shattering swings of their massive chain smashes. I really do like it. I did my Gorguntas like these with the masks. That's awesome! I would love to see pictures of that. Where can I see that, Andreas? You can't share links here, but if you let us know where to find you, I would happily do that. There's a Bone Splitters vibe to these guys. That's probably why I like them. I haven't taken out my Bone Splitters army in a long time. I really should. Next we have the Ard Boys. Okay, I do believe that this is the kit that I was being told about. So we know what Ard Boys are. Ard Boys are, at least in the last battle tome, they represent orcs that want to be Ironjawz. And so they emulate the brutes that they see, which is they put on big honking things of armor. And these were, I think, not clumsily, I won't say clumsily represented, but it just didn't quite fit. They used the Black Orc models from Fantasy Battles, which did hold up for quite a while, I think. But the scale and like the sizing and that kind of stuff, it just was kind of against them. And so looking at a new Ardboys kit, I think these guys are just absolute beasts. Look at this. Oh, I love the masks. They kept a lot of the same mask concepts. I love the half mask with the tusks. That is my favorite one. That's okay, Andrews. I just wanted to say something nice. Shout out to you. I'm a sucker for this also in Space Marine, the Chaos Space Marines. Like their Terminators have the big tusks coming out. I don't know why. These look fantastic. Now I'm curious. I notice a lot of them, all of them, have spears and shields, which would be an interesting direction change. Right now, Ardboys are like, well, Ardboys have changed a lot actually since AOS launched, because for a long time their book would oscillate between like the boys can take whatever they want. You can have a mix of stuff within the unit, and then sometimes the stock would recede, and it's everybody's got to be the same thing. And you know, over many years that it's been out, they've fixed it now. But it's just funny to see them all with the exact same option, unless there's more down below and I just didn't see it. So, Ardboys are terrifying armored shock troopers who are more than a match for the elite fighters of other armies. Each hardened veteran with an insatiable appetite for violence, they maintain a veneer of discipline until battle lines are met, at which point they become a mob of braying thugs. I like that. The era of the beast has also seen Ardboys take up stickas, which make it a laugh to ward off charges from mighty monsters and give them a good poking afterwards. Even their shields are more a weapon than a defensive tool, a hunking slab of beaten iron covered in tusks and spikes. Oh man, I love it. It's not what I was expecting. It's definitely a kit that I think needed it, but not what I was expecting. Laughs and scaven tears. Oh, that's so cool. Okay. And they are going to do Battle Tome Supplement Ironjawz. All these units will be made, receive roles in the upcoming Dawnbringers 2 Reign of Brutes alongside... not care about that. Luckily for lovers of swole orcs, the mighty Ironjawz are irrepressible. They've busted free from the pages of Reign of Brutes and are barreling... Okay, so there's going to be a free online. They're so freaking verbose and everything. Just say it. There's going to be rules online. Cool. Oh, man. From this list, these guys have to be my favorite, with the Ardboys being a very close second. Like, for real. These guys just take the cake for me. I love their pose. I love the stance. I love the madness of them. How they look totally messed up. And the idea of bringing the Weird Knob Shamans into it, because I think lore-wise, they're very, like, off to the side. I mean, it literally says that in the book. When someone becomes a Weird Knob Shaman, they like kick him off to the side because he creeps everybody out. So having him have a more practical role with a unit is kind of a cool little thing. Okay, so that was our Ironjawz. A lot there. Okay, we're keeping this party moving. Now, I am interested in Horus Heresy. I'm going to be playing a lot of it here soon, and I just adore the game. So let's check it out. I'm not going to read everything for this. I just want to kind of hit some highlights, because a lot of what they're doing right now is making things that existed in resin much more into the plastic vibe. So, we have the Deredeo, I believe that's how it's pronounced, Dreadnought, which is basically, he's a walking gun platform. You take a Contemptor, ditch the arms, throw a bunch of cannons on him, and that's all he does. Walks around and shoot things. My armies tend to be much more melee focused, or at least mixed arms, so I tend to not have stuff like this. And then they're coming out with a new type of Marine, and it is the Mark III armor, which is probably my favorite. I know it's kind of like the Death Guard unique thing. They did say that this is going to be compatible with the upgrade kits that came out for the Mark of Armor that was with the Army of Darkness box, or Age of Darkness box. So it's compatible with everything. I like that. But I just love, you know, one of the things that I like about the Space Marine armor is they kind of oscillate in their designs between giving you as a player a chance to represent something that's very sci-fi, or very almost like space fantasy. Whereas these guys, I feel like these guys look more like knights in terms of big clad armor. It looks very primitive while being technologically advanced, kind of a thing. Like, it looks like they're wearing dumpy armor. As opposed to a modern space marine with like the breather masks and the tubes and, you know, all that kind of stuff. Oh yeah, here's some cool pictures of them all painted up in different Legion colors. But where to acquire this fabulous new war gear? It'll be available at first in the forthcoming Legion Astartes battle group. This massive box contains a whopping 30 Mark III. 30 is an interesting number. One Deredeo Dreadnought and a Land Raider Proteus. I don't know anything about a Land Raider Proteus. I have the Land Raider Spartan, I think is what comes with the original set. This seems like a fantastic way to expand an existing army. And that's kind of what I hope to do. I was actually on the fence about grabbing another Age of Darkness box because I need more Marines. Not specifically on like basic troops, but rather like I need the kits for the special weapons and that kind of stuff. So I've kind of been thinking about that a lot, but this would be a great alternative to that. At least I can get some different types of models in there. That's not it. You also get a special weapons set containing 5 lots of each: a plasma gun, melt-a-gun, flamers, rotor cannon, Volkite chargers, and Volkite cavaliers. Shove them into a Land Raider and deliver your choice of... Okay, right on. Weird. I don't know. A Proteus is just the basic Land Raider in Horus Heresy. Oh, okay. So the Spartan is the one that's unique to Horus Heresy, and then the Proteus is like the design that was carried forward into 40K. Is that kind of the idea? That's interesting. Okay. Cool. I'm going to go ahead and click out of here. I am, like I said, very excited for Horus Heresy. Warcry, Hunter, and Hunted. Okay. Warcry stuff. I won't lie to you. The rate at which they update Warcry has made me not want to play the game. But I love the models. It is some of their best miniatures that they've ever made. So let's look at them. Let's see. Hunter and Hunted pits the rugged rangers of the Wild Core Hunters in a fight for survival against a frenzied maw pack of Gorgers. Oh. Pallid ogre brutes afflicted with a curse of eternal hunger. I, like probably a lot of us, forgot about Gorgers. The feral fiends that make up the Gorger Mawpack are pariahs even amongst the hungriest heavyweights of ogre society. That is true. Cursed to never find relief from their eternal hunger, damned to taste no satisfaction in the feasts, Gorgers are a malformed, malicious, and malnourished beast, quite literally gutless, and at least by Maw Tribe standards. Pack of Gorgers prowl on the outskirts of Maw Tribe camps, squeeze through the opening caves where ogres discard their leftovers, and lope after their prey with appalling feral intent. Led by mighty clawbacks, they've drawn to the Gnarlwood in unprecedented numbers. Yeah, man. Yeah. I mean, I was going to chat about the Gorgers lore for a bit, but they did a great job. This is the guy, the model, who like is kind of stuck in that like Michael Jordan doing the dunk pose, and he just looks super gnarled and nasty. We're gonna look here. We have a two-handed weapon one. Now, I imagine that these are generally multi-kit, at least to give them something. I mean, all the Warcry warbands have had something, right? At least 2 or 3 of the models have had options, whether they're just holding a thing or it's their hand outright. They just look terrific. And I love the way that the mouths look right, like for what they're trying to represent. An ogre or a Beast Claw Raider or whatever that's just gone absolutely insane. Like, their mouths look like those mouths. These guys are just so stinking cool. That one's got a feral ghoul pose to him, to be honest with you. I kind of dig it. But all of their crypt horrors kind of have that low slunk look. Man. This one looks like a tyrant. Like, it looks like that classic tyrant pose just kind of put there, begging for some Flesh Eater Quartz conversions. Yeah. I'm sorry, I fell behind the chat, guys. I'm reading as it comes in. If I missed a question from you, please go ahead and ask it again. And that guy is still doing the Duncan pose. Yep. Yeah, there was a guy. Yes, this one. This is the one who's doing the pose that the original had, which I love. But yeah, when your whole society is talking about food and it's the one thing you can't do, enjoy, or interact with, that's a bummer. Oh, wait. I think there was more on there. Did I just stop way too early? I did. The moral citizens of Gur settlements make excellent sacrifices for these holy hallow places, and when gorgers begin snatching people from their beds, it's up to the local wild core to track them down. Bespoke Warcry kit has had weapon options of some type. The only one I'm not sure of is the Hunters of... Yeah, I don't know if I ever actually saw those models in person. Took me a second. I adore these minis. So this is one of the new free guild kits that's coming out, where it's humans that are just kind of they're acting as scouts, sort of. And so I have just absolutely adored these. We've seen a couple previews of some of the shots of these guys before, but they just look stellar. I mean, my goodness. The Wild Court Rangers. I love the crossbow action. I mean, they just seem like they are made to be a perfect Warcry warband, right? Possibly the first female ogre model. Yeah, that's true. Elect Man, my question is, what did you mean when you said the rate that they update the game has turned you off in Warcry? Is that the rules update, kit releases? It was kit releases, yes. Also, I didn't feel like those kit releases gave enough gameplay to be for everybody. So like when they put these boxes out that have 2 factions, some terrain, and then, you know, deployment cards and that kind of stuff, there's not enough value in there for someone who doesn't want to expand their collection but wants to continue to get content for the existing game. If I like Corvus Cabal and that's the only thing I like, there's nothing for me in any of these books. And in fact, that is exactly the position that I am in, and they don't do anything for me, and it's so hard to get people to buy into stuff, because there was a point in time where I convinced a local group to try it just a little bit. But in that time, they went from having, what was it? I think it was like the first round of rulebooks with their points, and then they put out those series of 4 like Grand Alliance books, and then went into the 2nd edition. All of those purchases absolutely soured this entire group of people that I was trying to, because their rules kept getting invalidated for a short period of time, but psychologically that's enough to make you be like, screw this. And I just, like, I don't know. Corey Bragg, hey Corey, I shouted you out at the beginning of this stream. Congrats on going to Mini Wargaming, brother. I just saw that on my Facebook feed. I think GW said they were toning back the terrain sets for a Warcry and Kill Team because of exactly what you're saying. Yeah, I'd be cool with that. I mean, I love the terrain, don't get me wrong. The models and the terrain, if you want those things, they're great. Hell yeah. But like, if you're somebody you're just kind of jamming with one thing, or they have already scratched your itch, so to speak, nah. However, we do have to talk about the puppers. I love these dogs. Dang. I love how they're all somewhat distinct. Like the top and the bottom and the left and the right are both the same, you know, variant or breed or whatever. But they just look fantastic. Anytime they add dogs, I know the whole thing of like pet the pupper is a big deal for some people in video games. I just love it. Because I love the idea of these guys running next to Gryph-hounds, right? Of just like, here's a normal thing, and then there's the super weird thing. Because outside of the context of the Stormcast Eternals, when everything's a weird Gryph-hound, you lose sight of like how weird this animal actually is. But if you had it in an army along with a dog, you'd be like, that thing's weird. I like it. And it also comes with a brand new piece of terrain, a troublingly toothsome maw pit. Oh, that's a new maw pit? Or rather, maw pit. I didn't say new one. I meant, yeah. Complete with a bone pulpit for the worshipful ogres. This... That's super cool. Nice. Now we can have our very own Sarlacc pit. I dig it. I will say, you know, I'm kind of, I'm not super, like, taken back by the actual maw itself. That kind of just looks like one of those burrowing worms that they already showed us in some of the artwork. It's cool, but what really draws my attention in this is the pulpit, right? This idea of these two bones in the ground, the flipped upside down skull around chains. It's just, that looks Warhammer to me. So, yeah. Sarlacc pit. Yeah, somebody else said it too. Yeah, it's exactly. Yeah. Oh man. Okay. Warband Tome, Hunter and Hunted. Well, I will say in terms of having a specific kit that looks like it tells a particular story, this one does a better job than the others, I would say. Those 2-player boxes that, or 2 army starter sets that Games Workshop comes out with for Warcry. When you have like the people who are out hunting, the Gorgers, who represent a very fundamental lore aspect of ogres in general, and then a piece of terrain that directly relates to their religion, which they are shut out from, that makes them who they are. That, just in terms of the models that are in the box, that is a more complete story than the other ones, where it's just like, and there's some bug people, and we found these bird people up on the roofs. You're just like, and now we're fighting over an Aztec pyramid. Like, what the hell is going on? Whereas this one, it's like, you can kind of see how the narrative can write itself. I like that. Okay, we're going to move on here. What do we got next? Blood Bowl Vampire Team. I'm not a big Blood Bowl person. However, that is more to do with the last town I lived in. They had Blood Bowl leagues there, but they were so hyper competitive that nobody would slow down to teach me the game. And I just stopped having fun. Now that I've moved, now I'm settled in. We got my mom moved up. It's been a long summer. I'm looking again for Blood Bowl players, and I've heard they're around here, but I don't know. I love the video game version, and I want to like the IRL version. So we have here our vampire team. Already I'm liking these guys. I just like how it looks like some design director came into work that day and was like, I'm thinking frills. And then they just decided to sit down and make vampire models all day. Competitive Blood Bowl is an oxymoron and loses the spirit of the game. Yeah, dude. That is what I was trying to articulate. I was like, I want to play with goblins because one guy has a giant 4-foot long chainsaw and the other guy is like Doctor Strange loving a bomb as he rides it into battle. What are you talking about? Optimal plays. I want to see a dwarf kill someone with a lawnmower. That's what I'm here for. Okay, sorry. On task. Love this mask right here. That's actually one of my favorite pieces of headgear. I mean, it's a helmet, but like if this was on a normal vampire like lord or whatever, that would look so cool. Let's see. There was a group trying to set up a Blood Bowl league at one of the breweries in Ankeny. Ah, okay. I've run a few Blood Bowl leagues. If you ever let neckbeards do the neckbeard things and try to optimize, it kills the group. That seems to be my understanding as well. Now, my understanding, I could probably read the lore, but quite frankly, you know, it's vampires. They're vampires doing vampire things, but it looks like they have a whole bunch of their little henchmen and ghouls who are doing their plays for them, which is funny. I've always liked the way that vampires are portrayed in, what is it? Not just Blood Bowl, although Blood Bowl, and then also, was it Mordheim, where the whole faction is just, you have two people who are good at things, and they're the best at things. Everybody else is a raging loser. It's like It's like if someone took the band No Doubt and put it into a video game form where it's like there's Gwen Stefani and then a bunch of nobodies who nobody cares about and couldn't get a job at Hot Topic if they wanted. Same thing. Oh man, Blood Bowl held at a brewery sounds like a heaven. Oh yeah, I'm gonna check that out because I think I know what brewery you're talking about. The Winged Vampire is cool. I wonder if what player he fills the role of. Like, obviously, I don't know. I'd want him to be a carrier, I think. Okay. Checking out the rest of their stuff. All the boxes come with little tokens and counters because when you play Blood Bowl, there's a little tracker for all your information and stuff. So here we go. God damn. Doug with the brutal No Doubt takedown. I mean, have you seen those guys? Come on. The coffin counter is insanely detailed. Yes. Yeah, there's a lot of cool little things there. Now we're moving into Weird Hollow, right? That's what it is. Underworld's Death Gorge. Dysfunctional demons and determined deepkin duel over souls. And sometimes they got to kill the loser for a drink. Okay. Warhammer Underworld's Death Gorge. Okay, I actually kind of want to read the description because this is a totally different setting. Frozen into the winding network of burrows and chasms are treasures from lost civilizations waiting to be thawed out, as well as imprisoned souls of dead warriors ripe to be claimed by those who have the guts to battle not only the elements but other avaricious warbands. Okay, so we're in the Everwinter. The inimical Everwinter makes spelunking into these rimy depths particularly dangerous, yet despite the danger, many adventurous souls are drawn to rime-frosted caverns, which is good news for fans of the ultimate competitive miniatures game. There we go. Nope, Weird Hollow. Yes, yeah, but I meant like the current box that they're going to be pushing. I'm sorry, I'm thinking a couple months ahead when I say this is the thing. But this is going to be the current edition or whatever. Let's see. This box contains everything you need to get started with Underworld. Okay, so it is built for brand new players. It also contains 2 new warbands, 4 new rival decks, intended to be played right out of the box. The rival decks, if you don't know, are kind of like pre-made bespoke deck builds that for you that are meant to be more like, I guess, thematic. It keeps everything. It basically, you identify cards that are never going to rotate out, really. That's kind of the idea. It's like, we can lock these play styles here because they exemplify the warbands. I like it. I got out of Underworlds before they started really doing that, but I like the idea of it. Like, obviously people do play, but do you see a lot of it? I have seen one instance of Underworlds being played in real life. Corey Bragg, so curious to Doug, who's moved around in chat? Underworld was once upon a time very popular locally, then COVID killed it. Dead followed by Bad Sale, GW. Is anyone still playing? Yeah, I don't know anyone who plays. The last I really heard much, I mean, I'm also like a lurker on most boards. I don't hang out in a ton of online forums for this stuff, but I feel like they had one set that was like $90 and the price, I mean, the value was just not there. It was absurd. People were very unhappy. That might actually be the current one that we're in if I think about it. So I guess it's price point depending. The thing is, like, as a game system, I enjoy Underworlds. I don't like the deck building, although they're trying to curb that with the rival decks, of course. But then that opens up a strange thing where it's like, what is the game? Is the game the ultimate competitive game where you're trying to, you know, build the deck? That's part of it. I would say that's part of the skill involved in Magic the Gathering. But what does that look like when you take that away? I don't know. It's just a whole lot of like shifting visions of what they want the game to be. And at the end of it, I just don't feel like my dudes have told a story, which is what I personally go to war games for. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I played a really fun board game. I had a great time, but I don't feel like I told a story. But that being said, they're also some of the best models ever. We have here some Slaanesh demons. We have Mama Thickness. Ooh, that's a killer model. Oh, I like that. It looks like it fits directly in with the Contorted Epitome. I agree. I think the game, as a game is solid. Just feels over niche. Yeah, I can see that. Want to play Underworlds with my friends, but storage for cards and expansion warbands is a minor issue. I have a bunch of armies that I shift between already. Exactly, yeah. So it's hard for Ask AOS players to play this other side game and take away from their limited time and hobby in it. Yeah, it's tough. Like, if you have an Age of Sigmar army and you want to play something shorter for game night, why wouldn't you play Warcry? You would just get a chance to use more of the things you already own. Like, you play Underworlds because you want to play Underworlds, right? It's like Warcry, I could definitely see sometimes being like, hey, I don't have time for a full AOS game. Can we crank out 2 very fast games of Warcry? And you get that same little jolt of hobby energy. It's different when it's a deck building game. I don't know. I'm not super into Underworlds as a game either, but they do have some of the best models. Oh my gosh, absolutely. Okay. Oh, it's just those 3? Wait, is it really a 3-person warband? Oh. I won't lie to you. When I played Underworlds, I despise 3-player warbands simply because I like having a bit more board control. My favorite was actually the Reavers that came out with the original set, just because I liked having a good mix of cheap guys and heavy hitters. With 3, anything that has to do with claiming an objective, it's like it is a yes or no question and you have no chance. A trio of soul-seeking demons of Slaanesh who absolutely despise each other. Their constant feuding a source of irritation by any Hedonite unlucky to get involved with them. They've been punished for their endless squabbling by Syl-esque. Hey, that's an awesome mini. That's the one with the demon prince and then like the demonette that rides on top of them, like Master Blaster. And must work together to recover 666 souls from the frozen depths of Death Gorge as penance. I'm kind of curious as what they're going to do in AOS. I don't know if I actually told you guys this. I have a Slaanesh army. Right when I moved, I was working with Jack from Rerolling Ones. Still friends. Hi, Jack. Love you, buddy. And we traded off some stuff together, and I actually got a whole bunch of his unused Hedonites of Slaanesh stuff. I have plenty for an entire army. Mostly mortals, but I am going to be adding some demons in, so I'm curious how these will do in that context as well. Normally, 3 fighters is reserved for tough forces, and that doesn't feel Slaanesh-y. It's true. It's true, and that makes me feel like there must be some way that they're kind of like a different kind of toughness. You know what I mean? Like, you can have a better stat for toughness, but also there could be rerolls. There could be maybe it's a worse number, but you get rerolls kind of a thing. There's a lot of ways to articulate toughness. I'm interested. And the next one, which I think is the main event that people were really here for, that's the Deepkin. The Deepkin not only come with some of the coolest models that Games Workshop has made, but the ultimate bits box collection, because they just feature so many more animals. Like, I don't know. They took the Nurgle approach to stuff. Nurgle kits, if you aren't a Maggotkin player, they just have a ton of little tiny dudes, little tiny Nurglings and just random monsters or like melting skulls and sludge. They just have bits, right? Or just tiny bugs, that kind of stuff. I love it for the bits quality, and I feel more and more like Deepkin is becoming that for the Order faction. Whereas probably Gloomspite Gitz, I feel like, is that for Destruction. Gotta think about that one. Anyway, love this one. Absolutely adore the jellyfish coming away from her, like in the direction she's pointing. Screw those guys! And all the jellyfish are like, I'll give it my best. The squid is awesome. I did see the squid that was shared with me because people just couldn't not. And I have to say, it is one of the coolest models ever. I absolutely adore it. Now, a thing that stands out to me specifically are its eyes. If you don't know, if you've seen actual squid or octopus eyes, they're kind of this weird, like almost W-shaped thing. And I don't know, I was just recently learning a thing on animal biology that like eye shape is depending on what kind of animal you are. So if you're very, very low to the ground, you tend to have very vertical eyes like cats, foxes. But if a fox, because it's tiny, has those eyes, it gets bigger, all of a sudden it goes to normal canine eyes, which is human eyes, round. If you are a herding creature that has your head down, you have the straight side eyes like goats and sheep. I don't know, all these it's just silly stuff. But I love the way his eyes look. I'm like, what the heck is trying to kill you, bro? Where you had to evolve triangular eyes to be able to see in this crystalline direction. I like that. Which was Wormspat for? Underworlds or Warcry? That one was Underworlds, I believe. Okay, we got some Namartis. I like them. Not... You know what's interesting is I'm looking at this dude and I feel like his eyes are more defined than the typical Namarti kit. Does anybody else feel that way? Him too. Although his are tiny. Oh my gosh, he has tiny little no eyes. Also, why is he holding the lantern? I'm gonna do that. Oh man, next time I play a game that has like blindness as a injured condition, I'm gonna give that guy the lamp. That's the guy that we want leading the pack. And then we come with 4 rival decks. 2 for the bespoke warbands, and then 2 that are just kind of themed around the frost nature. What's cool about those bottom ones, if I understand correctly, is that they will be usable by just about every warband. That's my understanding. 2 universal, rival decks. Breakneck Slaughter and Force of Frost, which I like that quite a bit. That's a cool idea. I'm going to come back on here and steal this art from my lore videos. That's a really cool picture. I don't know if you guys have seen this. There's a colossal orc skull embedded in the ground. Got his hand right here. There's some neat stuff. Next up, we have Bow Deeply for Elise Dutchard. And this is a lady for Warhammer Old World. And, you know, I'm going to say this. This is a gorgeous model. If you are the artists who designed it or painted it, let me know. I'd like to buy you a drink. You're incredible. It's a stunning model. Absolutely. I don't have any interest in Old World as a game, but I like this model a lot. So, that's really my opinion on it. I don't have any like major notes or reviews or anything. It just has such a good feel to it. It makes me really want them to redo a Gandalf model for Lord of the Rings, which is also a game I don't play. But when he is Gandalf, the white on the horse with like the white staff in his right hand in that same way, it looks like this. I would love to see that mini. Oh hey, this is it her? 2 older versions of Magrenia Fey Enchantress and a Hero of the End Times. So that's their closest thing that they've had in the past. Is Sister Act with a chalice, and then I don't mind this one as much. I kind of like her holding the sword lengthwise in her arm. I like that. Like she's bearing it. Okay. I don't have a ton of opinions on this one, but it's pretty. And we have one more. This will wrap us up. As I said, I am excited for Horus Heresy. And that is to say, we have a new Demon Primarch coming. If you don't know, in the book Fulgrim, which you can learn more about on The Emperor Protects, the 30K podcast that I do here with my buddy Dan, Fulgrim had a demon come into his body at the end of his book. I mean, he's a traitor marine. I don't feel like that's spoilers. And at a certain point further into the heresy, he was in a battle where that power basically spilled out, and that's where the Primarchs become twisted and all these kinds of things. As a Space Marine elevates to a Chaos Lord, these guys did that same evolution. So like they're so much stronger than any Marines. It takes like planet-ending weapons to kill these guys. They're pretty cool. And Fulgrim is a character that I love on paper, but I've never liked in any of the ways that they play. By that I mean, like, I like his arc when it comes to his temptations, his folly, his hubris, his legions, dedication to art, and where that took them. But I've never cared so much for, like, needing the demon version of everything. I don't know. I really like it. I'm terrified of how breakable it's going to be. Look at this. People complained about the Winged Hive Tyrant for years. This guy is so much rougher. I don't know. Let's see. Okay, I'm looking for it, but does anyone know if this is plastic or resin? I'm looking here. What a Demon Primarch is. Intricate golden finish. Resin miniature. There we go. That's a no from me, dog. Because even, I mean, if you're a collector, always. Yes, absolutely. If you play at all, I just don't want to move them. I mean, you can pin the wings 9 ways till Sunday, but none of that matters when the guy you're playing with is on his third beer and reaches across the table to grab his dice and clips one of these Uber things here, and the whole stuff just comes coming crashing down. I'm torn. It is a technical achievement, is a beautiful model that I think brilliantly captures the character it's trying to represent. But there's some times where Games Workshop makes models and you're like, you guys know we have to physically move these things, right? I felt the same way about the Paladors for Stormcast when, you know, they have that javelin that's like way out far with all of the force and the anchoring, you know, all of that energy going, like if it bends or breaks on the wrist, so far away from them. Like, you guys know. You designed them. You know that we need to move them. Or when they put the KO ship on like a toothpick and you're like, guys. Just ironically, despite being more of a Khorne guy, if I played Heresy, I'd play the Sons of Horus. Hey, I play Sons of Horus. I'm actually more of a Word Bearers guy, but I played Sons of Horus because I wasn't sure if I was going to get a lot of Heresy games in, and I wanted a faction that I could play both good and bad, which I know you can do for any of the legions, but with them specifically, Sons of Horus, I wanted to buy the Loken Abaddon kit. There's a kit where 2 heroes are charging at each other. It's kind of like the brother-on-brother vibe of a good guy, a bad guy from the same legion. And that way you can just take them individually and, hey, these are my Sons of Horus rebels, Sons of Horus loyalists, whatever. This guy is incredible. It's the kind of model. Here's how I rate models, okay? This is I'll give this little bit and then we'll go into the review of everything that got revealed for us. I rate a model this way. If somebody gave this to me as a gift and it didn't cost me anything, how long would it sit in the box? Not because it's not the next thing on my hobby progress, but because I am terrified to build it. Like, this model, it just feels that way to me. I don't... Doug, I gave you that model like 4 years ago. Why haven't you built it, dude? I'm scared. And I'm broke, so I can't tell people to build it for me. Okay. So, I'm just going to throw this little guy kind of slow scrolling up. We got our Fulgrim action. The lady, honestly, neither of those really do it for me. When it comes to the underworld stuff, I continue to be utterly in awe of the high quality of miniatures and the fun settings they keep coming up with. But the game system doesn't do much for me, so I will definitely be supporting people who enjoy it. It just doesn't do a lot for me. Okay, and then moving up, Vampire Team. We already gave my controversial No Doubt review on that. They look great though, they really do. And if you're looking for new kinds of thralls, there's really no better place to go. And then we have the Warcry Hunter and Hunted collection, which I think all were fantastic models. Weird, I did not see Gorgers getting a new model as soon as they did, or just that they were relevant enough to do that, but I like the set. This Horus Heresy article had Mark III armor and the Deredeo Dreadnought, as well as announcing their new set, which I personally really, really want. I do. For me, I think the winners have to be the Ironjawz. If you are an Ironjawz player, I do not understand how you could not be the most utterly excited person in the world right now. The new Ardboys, the crazy brutes that are like units of 3. I love units of 3, just do. And then obviously the new Trog King, which was terrific, but my feeling is I want more. I want more for the Gloomspite Gits and the Trogs and stuff. And by more, I mean, generally speaking, generic units that, you know, don't have a name or whatever. I just like playing non-named characters. And then the Space Marines, which is, as always, do you like Space Marines? If yes, then you'll love it. If no, pass. So that is my opinion. I personally feel like the Ironjawz won it. There is, first of all, more in this article than any others. We have heroes that amplify units. We got two new kinds of units, and then one refresh of your core. And that's the thing, when they redo sculpts, some stuff I don't understand. Like the Chameleon Skinks and the Gorgers are great examples of kits that were terrible that they wanted to the Chameleon Skinks weren't terrible. The Gorger was pretty ugly. But they wanted to redo them, so they came out with Warcry warbands that allow you to do that. And I think that is a brilliant idea for some of those minis where, you know, it's like a one-off. You're not going to have a ton of them, maybe a unit or two or whatever. And then there's stuff like this with the Ardboys, where it's like, if you're an Ironjawz player, you will field like 30 of these guys, right? I mean, not necessarily. Obviously, list building, you can do whatever you want. But for the most part, like, it's your standard troop. I adore when standard troops get a refresh because it means, just by extension, the entire army gets a facelift. If any game that requires you to have battle line and then you can make those choices better, it improves everything, right? It's reverse trickle down. I probably won't get one for 2 to 3 more editions, but I'll still wait. Either that or a Git Mob expansion for Gits. I want Spider Fang refresh. Yes, I also want a Spider Fang refresh, but that's a perfect example, like, man, of exactly what I'm talking about. The Spider Rider kit, I mean, it doesn't look terrible, I don't think, but it also isn't amazing. But if they came out with a actually good looking spider kit, don't you think people would be like looking at that, be like, I want those. What the hell is that big thing I never looked at before? The Arachnarok, that kind of stuff. So I like that. The Space Marine preview was the spaciest Space Marine of all the Space Marines possible. It was. Let's see. We got the thickest of foreheads in the Scouts. yeah, I already talked about the Assault Marines are the only thing that I'm really interested in. So anyway, friends, that is it for the 2+ Tough review. Thank you guys for hanging out with me today. I am sorry that I was not able to do it live as I had hoped to, but stuff happens. I do have videos coming out this coming week now that things are settling down. Conquest lore, Age of Sigmar lore. I'm going to show you how I made this incredible case that I did. I posted a picture of her on my TikTok, but I'll post it more places. But I took a $100 case and I turned it into like a backlit Sons of Horus special edition thing for myself and my army. I think you'll like it quite a bit. So I'm doing all of that. And oh, the Spider Riders are terrible. Yeah, that's fair. And I hope that you have enjoyed these reveals as much as I do. For me personally, just wrapping up my final thoughts, my armies right now in AOS are my Bone Splitters and my Slaanesh that I have built and primed but not painted. And so that's kind of one where I'm like, I think I want a Slaanesh army. I'm pretty sure I do. It seems like a painting project I would like, but I'm not sure. So I'm kind of in a holding position there. The Bone Splitters I really do love, but they just took away my big pig. What is he? The Idol of Gork or Mork. I had a custom made one that was made by a viewer here, Verdian Forge, and it's beautiful. It's like boar shaped because I have a whole cavalry army on boar riders. And so none of this is really like directly for me, but I am excited nonetheless for Ironjaw players. There are some Slaanesh things, but like the 3-man Underworld's Warband, it doesn't really excite me all that much. So anyway, I hope that you guys have a wonderful day. Yes, Pumbaa. That is what I call him. He is my Pumbaa.